Shaw, who was a playwright and a novelist, a very accomplished writer in his own right, kind of assembled that speech as an actor would, put it together for himself to read. And then when we were shooting it on the first day, he drank too much. And by the end of the day, he was slurring his words and making up parts of it. He had forgotten his own dialogue. He apologized to Stephen. Stephen said, "We're here 2 days. Tell me you'll do it sober tomorrow. We'll come back tomorrow." He said that. He said, his honor as an actor. He did. And he came back, and the Indianapolis speech the second day was letter perfect. There are some great moments from the first day that are in the movie. And because Verna Fields is such an entertaining genius, you can't tell what was the first day, what was the second day. And because you're here today, I'll give you the secret. If you watch it on Blu-ray, which is the only way to really see it in detail, if Shaw's eyes are watery in the close-up, it's from the drunk day. If his eyes are clear, it's from the second day. But it's such a masterful job of acting and directing and narrative that it's great. And that's the story of the Indianapolis speech.
Another question? Sir, you in the blue.
Since you did most of the filming out on the ocean with a mechanical shark, did you guys ever have any problems or encounters with the real thing?
No, you know, on 2 we had some sharks circling, and people got a little panicked about it, but we really never had any problems.
Yeah, that part of the world, in the 70s, white sharks were a rarity in the New England coast. They've been seen. The whole Jaws story is based on an incident that happened in New Jersey, in Atlanta, in Cape May in 1916, where people were killed by sharks. But they're not. They don't. You know, you don't see them. You know, it was not a problem for us. There was sand sharks, blue little sharks. No big deal. Though when I fell in the water, the first thought in my head was, you know, we're making a movie about sharks. Do the sharks know that I'm writing about them?
I'm from New Jersey, and I want to tell you, you did a good job in that movie. I have been in the ocean. And I understand I'm not unique.
Oh no, we've all heard that ever since we
Yes, Carl, how did it come about that you got cast as the unfortunate victim in the rowboat?
No, that's not me.
No. Oh, I thought that.
No,
wait, that was Ted Grossman.
Teddy Grossman,
Ted Grossman was a stunt double, and
good friend of Dick Zanuck's.
A great boyhood friend of Dick Zanuck's, and a great stuntman.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's Teddy's leg.
Oh, okay.
All the way in the back.
How was Robert Shaw cast? How did he come to be cast?
Well, it was 2 weeks before production.
He was the third choice.
He was the third choice.
Richard Boone, Sterling Hayden,
and Lee Marvin, who turned the part down because Lee Marvin was actually fishing in Baja California and didn't want to. He sent back a telegram, said, I'm fishing. I don't want to make a movie about fishing.
And Shaw was the only guy that didn't fish.
And Shaw was the only one who was not a fisherman.
Yeah, I mean, Boone was, yeah.
Sterling Hayden had been a great Grand Bank story fisherman in his youth. He was the real deal.
So that's why he was like the first choice.
So But Shaw, Robert Shaw had been in the Sting for Zanuck and Brown, and they said, "Look, we really need an actor of your ability and stature. Please do it. We'll pay you a lot of money, and if you go overtime, we'll pay you big penalties because we know you have other pictures waiting, and we know you'll have a tax problem if you work more than 90 days in the U.S." And as the picture dragged on, they started sending Shaw to Canada every day he was not working. So he would pile up the days on his visa. And eventually, that strategy gave way, and Shaw was still on, and they paid a huge bump. As an actor, I think Shaw made more money than any other actor in the movie because of his penalties.
It would have been interesting. I'm just imagining Richard Boone in this movie.
Yeah.
And the struggles to get him to show up.
Yeah.
Well, I worked a television series with Heck Ramsey. He's a pretty reliable person. Yeah. I liked him a lot.
And big rugged guy, which was needed for the character.
Yeah.
There's somebody all the way in the back. Yes.
First citizen, do you recall the name of the stuntman who had recommended you for that crucial part?
Paul Stater. He did Poseidon, and he did all kinds of water movies. He was also the first man to ever ride stand on an elephant's back for Tarzan.
Okay, time for one more last question.
Lady.
I have a question for everybody. You all had your little part in making the movie. When you saw it, what did you think?
I could only say this, because I was so closely tied to the shark, so to speak, that the crew would laugh. Because the shark made funny noises with the rams, and then they would laugh. And the longer we were on the island, they got island fever and they were crazy. I was concerned that the audience would laugh. And then when the first screening I saw in Long Beach, California, they didn't laugh. And I thought, wow.
You know, I always like to think of it in a sense as the perfect storm. You know, if you looked at it individually, you'd think this is going to be an unbelievable disaster. And when all these elements come together, and trust me, it doesn't happen often, but when they do, it just was the perfect storm. And you look at it in hindsight and you know how blessed that the shark didn't work, so you didn't have to show it too much and maybe risk a laugh at it or whatever. But everything just worked out, and please don't think that this is the recipe for how to make these things, because trust me, it's not. And in this new corporate world where corporations own all the studios and everything, they would never permit a big studio film to go forward like this. Yeah, kind of unprepared into the breach.
This was a small movie. We shot some in my driveway. We shot some in the editor's pool. They had come out. I mean, as big as it was also very small. It was a small, relatively small group of people that were really bound together to get this thing made.
That's it. Thank you all so much for coming.
Let me remind you all, this is how selfless and caring we are as performers and writers and guests of the festival. We stopped signing. We stopped taking money. Yet gotten your pictures, books, and signatures. Please join us. Please, storyboards, join original storyboards. Please join us downstairs.
Yes, and also you can ask Joe about Close Encounters, which is a film he was also production designer on.
And Forbidden Planet.
All about Caveman.
Yeah.
Please ask Carl about that film. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, well, you can ask me at the
in the Jaws. No, in the room. In the room.